And now, as we know, the Democrats want you to think that murder is bad, which makes you think, is murder really bad? Or are they simply saying that because Biden has invested in the murder factory in Ukraine? These are all questions that you will be persecuted for daring to ask. That's exactly how he sounds. However, recently, new photos have emerged showing the absolute mayhem that Russia has enacted on Ukraine. Absolutely disgusting in every single conceivable way. So bad that as Russia was leaving a part of Ukraine, they began to shoot upon and I think they were even like rolling over civilians. People that were not fighting. They weren't part of the army, okay? It wasn't Ukrainian forces. These were men, women, and children that they just fired upon. About 300 residents had been killed on the outskirts of the Ukrainian capital during a month-long occupation by the Russian army. The streets are littered with corpses. Locals said the dead were civilians killed by departing Russian soldiers without provocation. Anti-tank mines were scattered across a bridge. Russian forces were literally leaving mines, tank mines, around people's homes. They were literally setting up these mines that if people tried to leave their homes, the mine would go off and they would be blown up. Ukraine's troops have retaken more than 30 towns and villages, Ukrainian officials said on Saturday, claiming complete control of the capital region for the first time since Russia launched its invasion on February 24th. So this is good news, of course. We're rooting against Russia here. Of course, Russia is an authoritarian dictatorship, and they are trying to essentially enact imperialism upon Ukraine. And now it is showing. I mean, look at this. There's nothing gory here, but like, holy shit, dude. Could you imagine if like this was your house? Local residents ride bicycles past flattened civilian cars. Flattened cars. This is more than just like a war. Russia is being bloodthirsty. This one's pretty sad. A volunteer inspects a corpse in the town of, is that Bucha? Is that how you say that? Nothing really gory here, but geez, man. Like, these are just civilians. These are just people that are trying to leave. This isn't someone dead, by the way. This is a Ukrainian serviceman checking for, like, booby traps, making sure that there aren't mines placed here by Russians to blow up random civilians as they're trying to flee. So now this has gone even a step further, and now Ukraine is asking the International War Crimes Committee to look into this mayhem and consider prosecuting it as a war crime. If you're gunning down innocent civilians as they're trying to leave, that's a fucking war crime. And Russia needs to be held responsible for that. Like, what the fuck is wrong with you people? Do you think that gunning down women and children are going to help you prevent Ukraine from joining NATO? Like, are you that fucking stupid? Or are you just bloodthirsty? I've never even, like, seen something like this outside of, like, maybe an action movie, but I've never seen something like this in real life. Like, oh my God. A glimpse at how catastrophic this war has been, how unnecessary this war is, and just how terrible this is. This looks like a Call of Duty map. It kind of does, but then when you realize it's real life, it's like just fucking terrifying. The reason I'm telling you this, the reason I'm sharing this disturbing news with you is because it really puts into perspective how poorly all the fucking delusional Republicans defending Russia and defending Putin has aged. Like, that shit aged so badly. And I have this clip here from everybody's favorite, good old Cucker Tarlson. So a little while ago, okay, about a month ago, and I want you, as we're watching this, to keep in perspective this. While we're watching Tucker Carlson literally defend Russia, essentially, I want you to keep in mind that Russia is slaughtering innocent men, women, and children.
Good evening and welcome to Tucker Carlson Tonight. Since the day that Donald Trump became president, Democrats in Washington have told you have a patriotic duty to hate Vladimir Putin. It's not
So right off the bat, why are you phrasing it as like, the Democrats say Putin's bad? What? Anyone with like half a brain cell knows that Putin's bad. But again, if you are an authoritarian, or even if you have fascistic tendencies, then of course you're going to absolutely adore an even stronger fascist.
Not a suggestion, it's a mandate. Anything less than hatred for Putin is treason. Many Americans have obeyed this directive. They now dutifully hate Vladimir Putin. Maybe you're one of them.
I mean, I wouldn't go as far as calling it literally treason, but I mean, it is a little bit suspicious that you would be supporting the fascistic dictator who locks people up in concentration camps and now slaughters innocent men, women, and children. That definitely seems a little odd.
Hating Putin has become the central purpose of America's foreign policy. It's the main thing that we talk about. Entire cable channels are now devoted to it. Very soon, that hatred of Vladimir Putin could bring the United States into a conflict in Eastern Europe. Before that happens, it might be worth asking yourself, since it is getting pretty serious, what is this really about? Why do I hate Putin so much?
Okay, let's think. Why do we hate Putin? He's an authoritarian, he kills people, he locks people up in concentration camps. Is that good? Like, keep in mind that people like Tucker Carlson, if they were around back when Hitler was rising to power, Tucker Carlson would probably be defending Hitler. Straight up. Tucker Carlson would say, why do the Democrats want you to hate Hitler so bad? This is an old clip. I know that it's an old clip. We're watching it so that we can compare it to the latest information to watch how badly this is aged.
Has Putin ever called me a racist? Has he threatened to get me fired for disagreeing with him?
What? Dude, this is how you know you've lost the plot. Putin can murder people, lock up gay people, and even like penalize or murder political opponents or people that report things that are anti-Putin in Russia. And this dude's over here saying, well, he never called me racist. Putin never told me that it's wrong for me to have sex with my dog, huh? You know, like, Putin never contributed to the cancel culture. Are you fucking insane right now?
Has he shipped every middle-class job in my town to Russia?
No. And last I checked, Biden didn't do that either.
Did he manufacture a worldwide pandemic that wrecked my business and kept me indoors for 2 years?
Every time I watch Tucker, because I try my hardest to never actually watch this guy's extremely punchable face, but every time I actually do, I'm surprised by how blatant his level of conspiracism is. Like, what happened to using dog whistles, bro? You know, at least then you seemed clever. But now we're just manufactured pandemic? What does that fucking mean? Who manufactured the pandemic? Are you alleging that the Democrats actually released the deadly pathogen? Is that, like, what does that mean? Can somebody tell me who manufactured the pandemic, please? And if it was manufactured, was it a job that was done in America? Because, hey, I mean, maybe we're bringing manufacturing jobs back, right?
Is he teaching my children to embrace racial discrimination?
Oh my God. Like, at this point, I don't even know what are you supposed to say to this? Who is teaching children racial discrimination? Maybe you think that that's what CRT means. I get it, you know. Hold up the straw, man. I got it, buddy. But, like, at this point, what do you even say to this dude? What do you say to somebody who's this lost in conspiracism? I don't think there's anything you can say. You just, you know, hope you get better from the dementia, pal.
Is he making fentanyl? Is he trying to snuff out Christianity? Does he eat dogs?
What? Wait, what's the making fentanyl thing? What does that even mean? Also, is he trying to snuff out Christianity? Who's trying to snuff out Christianity? I mean, I am, of course. I'm trying to snuff Christianity all day. But, like, where's the global goal to snuff out Christianity? Literally, he's just so desperate to paint himself along with other Republicans as some kind of a victim that he's just making shit up at this point. And then, yeah, what is the eating dog thing? Is that supposed to be like a racist against Asian people? Is that actually what he's getting at right now? I thought that was supposed to be like a joke. He's schizo posting in real life.
These are fair questions, and the answer to all of them is no. Vladimir Putin didn't do any of that. So why does permanent Washington hate him so much? If you've been watching the
Because you can hate people for other reasons besides eating dogs. And plus all the other reasons you listed are like just not happening. You've made up fairy tales in your small little mind. Again, we don't like Putin because he's bad.
news, you know that Putin is having a border dispute with a nation called Ukraine. Now, the main thing to know about Ukraine for our purposes is that its leaders once sent millions of dollars to Joe Biden's family. Not surprisingly, Ukraine is now one of Biden's favorite countries.
What? Is that actually true? Do we want to look this up? So, donor with deep Ukraine ties lent $500,000 to Biden's brother. 2015 loan came as Biden's brother faced financial difficulties related to his acquisition of a multi-million-dollar vacation home. There is no indication that the loan influenced Joe Biden's official actions, but it furthers a decades-long pattern. The documents gave no hint who was behind this, but last February, the lender filed a release of the mortgage, a document that discharges a lien in the public land records. The release reveals that 1018 PL LLC was controlled by John something, I'm not going to try to say his last name, a Ukrainian-American businessman and longtime donor to Joe Biden's campaigns. So a Ukrainian-American businessman donated? I guess, yeah, that's actually why, guys. You see, the whole entire world is against Putin's asinine actions here because one time Joe Biden's brother got a loan from an American Ukrainian businessman. Yep, that's got to be it. Good point, Tucker.
Biden has pledged to defend Ukraine's borders even as he opens our borders to the world. That's how it works. Invading America is called equity. Invading Ukraine is a war crime.
No. See how badly this is aged? The war crime is killing innocent men, women, and children, Tucker. That's the war crime, pal. Although I will say that his verbal diarrhea here is, I think that it should be classified as a war crime. Like a crime maybe against my ears.
Move closer to some kind of conflict with Russia, a conflict that could easily spin out of control, given that the people running this have no fine motor skills. The administration assures us this has nothing at all to do with repaying Joe Biden's personal debts to Ukrainian oligarchs. Not at all. It's completely and totally unrelated.
Wait, from what we just read, it's not Biden who is in debt to anything with Ukraine, who, by the way, is a single person, who's an American also. It was Biden's brother. I'm supposed to take from this that Joe Biden is supporting Ukraine like everyone else in the world with more than 3 brain cells is, and that's because he wants his brother to get the $500,000 back so they can pay off the mortgage for the vacation home? Yep, that totally makes sense, Tucker. Good point, man. You always have to wonder, by the way, when people are saying something this delusional, are they actually saying it, or is he just paid to say this? As we know, he has already admitted to being Rupert Murdoch's bitch, so perhaps this is just like a script he was handed, and he just has to sort of say it? I don't know. But this dude, everything he says is wrong. Everything.
The point here is to defend democracy. Not that Ukraine is a democracy. It is not a democracy. Ukraine's president has arrested his main political opponent. He has shut down newspapers and television stations that...
So why do you bring this up in regards to Ukraine, but then you're simping for Russia, who's done the same fucking shit? Are we talking about Ukraine suspending political parties that have links to Russia during a war with Russia? There is no way it's this easy to disprove what Tucker Carlson is saying. It just can't be this easy. I must be missing something here. The country's National Security and Defense Council took the decision to ban the parties from any political activity. Most of the parties affected were small, but one of them, the Opposition Platform for Life, has 44 seats in the 450-seat Ukrainian parliament. The activities of those politicians aimed at division or collusion will not succeed. I like to try to put this same kind of thing in perspectives for Republicans. So let's see, who are Republicans really scared of? So let's think of Muslims for a minute, okay? Let's imagine now that we're in war against a predominantly Muslim country, and there's a lot of division between our nation and an Islamic country, and then we have a massive political party in our government that has to do or has deep ties to the Islamic State. Do you think Tucker would be like, well, you can't lock up people that disagree with you? No. Tucker Carlson would probably be advocating for those people to be shot. Ukraine has many aspects of democracy. The president, who is head of state and commander-in-chief, is chosen by a popular election. The legislature has a mix of single-seat and proportional representation. The prime minister is chosen through a legislative majority and is head of government. The Supreme Court is appointed by the president upon nomination. That sounds very similar to America. In July 2019, the country held early parliamentary elections that observers also considered free and fair. But what's on paper is not necessarily the same as what happens in practice. Okay. So Ukraine's constitution guarantees the right to peaceful assembly. The country has struggled to build up lasting democratic infrastructure as it is veered between leaders who lean toward Russia or towards the West. Corruption remains a serious problem. Freedom House, a nonpartisan think tank, has labeled Ukraine a transitional or hybrid regime. Essentially, Ukraine is in the middle of the pack of former Soviet republics. It ranks much higher on the democracy index than Russia. What do you know? It sounds like it's not a full-blown democracy. It sounds like it's a struggling democracy, if anything. Now let's look up if Russia. Opposition leader, a terrorist, was labeled there. Okay, so it sounds like what's happening there. Now what's this? 1,000 arrested after protests over jailing of Russian opposition leader. Where's something before the war? Oh wait, this was 2021. So this was before the war. Why Putin's opponent has been jailed? This was from 2017. So Russia is far less of a democracy than Ukraine is. I want you to keep that fact in mind, okay? Because that is crucial to this argument here. Tucker's up here basically saying, hey, Ukraine isn't a full-blown democracy, while simultaneously alluding to the fact that Russia's not that bad and that it's just the Democrats that want you to hate Russia or Putin.
Joe Biden likes Ukraine, so Putin bad, war good. How will this
Yep, maybe that's how you see it. Like, you'll notice that Tucker Carlson seems to be like, if the Democrats say it, and then I oppose it. Like, you're just doing the reverse move, Tucker. You're doing the, well, Biden said it, so it's bad.
Or good. How will this conflict affect you? Will it affect you quite a bit, actually. Energy prices in the United States are about to go way up.
Lie. You can see that gas prices were actually already increasing even under President Donald Trump. We don't actually have very much gas and oil involved with Russia, and the war currently going on with Russia and Ukraine has very little to do with current gas prices. Again, you can see that gas prices were already steadily upticking when Donald Trump was still president, before this war ever took place. This is because of COVID. We're having issues with COVID and supply and demand, so gas prices are up right now because COVID is fucking up a lot of shit. That's why, Tucker.
And that means that everything you buy will become much more expensive, from the food you eat to the car you drive to tickets you need to take your family on vacation this summer, assuming you can still afford vacation by then. You're about to become measurably poor. That's not a guess. Joe Biden has admitted this. On the other hand, you're going to win an important moral victory against dastardly old Vladimir Putin, who is much, much worse than Justin Trudeau, just so you know. So you can feel good about that, because...
Was that supposed to be sarcasm? Wait, that was sarcasm, right? Or was it not? Because of course Putin is worse than Justin Trudeau. I don't even know.
Because, let's see, come to think of it, why would you feel good about that? It seems like a pretty terrible deal for you and for the United States. Hunter Biden gets $1 million a year from Ukraine, but you can no longer afford to go out to dinner.
Did Hunter Biden get $1 million a year from Ukraine? U.S. diplomat told Congress he raised red flag about Biden and Ukraine. A U.S. diplomat told congressional investigators this week that he raised concerns about Hunter Biden's position with a Ukrainian energy company in 2015. Oh, so we're talking about an energy company that he was being paid from? I don't even know. Like, if we want to talk about conflicts and whatnot, like, do you know how many conflicts were involved with the Trumps? Republicans never gave a shit that Trump had other members of his family in high positions of government also, so that they could all jerk each other off. But now, because Biden's son worked for an energy company in Ukraine, that means that Biden is supporting the war because he wants his son to get money? What? What are we supposed to take away from this?
That's not a bargain. So what are we missing here? What we're missing is the big picture, and that's why Joe Biden has dispatched Kamala Harris to explain that picture to us. Kamala Harris's old job was to open America's border. She did that. Her new job is to keep Ukraine's borders closed. Kamala Harris was in Europe the other day to...
It's almost as if one country is currently in a war and are not in a position to take refugees in, and also don't want to risk Russians invading their country. Literally, this is like one brain cell. This is like 2 IQ talking points. I'm lost for words.
Explain the whole thing. She began with a history lesson, letting the European peoples know about their recent past, which she assumes they've forgotten since so few of them speak English. She opened with the traditional salutation, "Listen, guys," because that's the way real historians and statespeople talk. Watch Kamala educate.
What?
I mean, listen, guys. We're talking about the potential for...
Are we actually going to pick on how a politician is talking? Tucker, you sucked Trump's cock for 4 fucking years. And you're getting on Kamala Harris's case for saying, "Listen, guys," before starting her sentence. This is really solid evidence, by the way, that Republicans don't have any principles at all. You see, when Trump says shit that's unconventional for a politician to say, well, that's just cool. That's because he gets me, you know? He's like one of us, bruh. You know, he's down with the blue-collar workers, yo. But then when Kamala Harris is like, "Listen, guys, here's the case," then all of a sudden, oh my God, this isn't how a fucking politician is to speak. A politician should be doing nothing but staring up ahead, reading off a teleprompter like Tucker Carlson. What the fuck are you talking about, dude?
I mean, let's really take a moment to understand the significance of what we're talking about. It's been over 70 years. And through those 70 years, as I mentioned yesterday, there has been peace and security.
Okay.
We are talking about the real possibility of war in Europe.
Okay. Wait. What was even wrong with that? Who listens to that and thinks that that was anything wrong? Like, they didn't really play enough for me to know the full context even, but based on that clip, are Republicans really this stupid, this drunk, and this lost in their trailer park community to listen to this and be like, "Oh my God, Kamala Harris is evil. She said there's a possibility of a war and then said, 'Hey guys.'"
Listen, guys, you may be Europeans who live in Europe, but you don't fully understand the ramifications of war in Europe. That's your problem. The thing about Europe, you've had peace and security for more than 70 years. Kamala Harris just told the Europeans that.
That's, first of all, a historical fact. This isn't something she's just telling them. Second of all, I don't know who's worse, maybe him, Michael Knowles, Matt Walsh. They're all kind of up there with the bad faith factory, where they hear something and it goes in one ear and then it gets scrambled up, maybe like flushed down the toilet, dipped in some feces here and there, and then spat out in the most uncharitable, bad faith, twisted way imaginable. She's like, "You guys have had peace and security for the last 70 years, but there's a possibility that a war could happen." She's literally bringing that up to then follow with the gravitas of a situation where there might be war in an area that had peace for the last 70 years. And that goes through Tucker's head and then pops out the other end, and he's like, "Kamala Harris, she's just saying that you gotta get over it and that war is gonna happen no matter if you like it or not. Also, she punched everybody's puppy."
And that, by the way, is true if you don't count the breakup of Yugoslavia, which caused hundreds of thousands of deaths in the 1990s, or the Soviet occupation of half of the landmass, which amounted to the enslavement of hundreds of millions.
Why are you bringing up Soviet stuff? I thought that Putin was okay. Wait, whoa. Why are you bringing up Russia stuff, dude? Did the Democrats tell you to hate Russia? So Russia bad? What the fuck, Tucker?
But apart from that, Mrs. Lincoln, it's all been peace and security in Europe. Until now. Now, the Soviets were fine. Vladimir Putin is bad. What do we do about that?
Is Tucker arguing that it's just Putin who's like, kind of A-okay? Or is this Russia entirely? I'm so lost. I don't think you're supposed to really think too deeply about it. I don't think you're really supposed to understand what exactly he's saying. It's just supposed to sound like a bunch of words being mushed together to spit out a conservative agenda so that the boomers watching, if they're still able to get an erection, can just jerk off at how doomed Western culture is.
Kamala Harris explained that too. Watch.
And the allied relationship is such that we have agreed that the deterrence effect of these sanctions is still a meaningful one, especially because, remember also, we still sincerely hope that there is a diplomatic path out of this moment. And within the context then of the fact that that window is still although it is absolutely narrowing, but within the context of a diplomatic path still being open, the deterrence effect, we believe, has merit.
So let's summarize what she just said there. She said that sanctions appear to be having a deterrent effect, so they still seem to be effective, and that she does hope that there is a democratic way out of the situation involving the war between Russia and Ukraine. Most likely she's referring to, I think, I could be wrong here, but most likely she's referring to a diplomatic and like professional, mature way for Ukraine to join NATO without causing any more issues. That's kind of my interpretation of what she just said, more or less. So now let's hear how it sounds coming out of the bad faith factory. Take it away, Tucker.
Got that? Take a breath and let it sink in. Here it is again. Quote, "We have agreed that the deterrence effect of these sanctions is still a meaningful one, especially because, remember also, we still sincerely hope that there is a diplomatic path out of this moment, and within the context then of the fact that the window is still open, although it is absolutely narrowing, but within the context of a diplomatic path still being open, the deterrence effect, we believe, has merit."
So she's saying that their deterrent effect still seems to be working, although the ability for this to be done in a diplomatic way is narrowing. What am I supposed to be mad about this? Can someone help me out, chat? Please, I'm this desperate now. I'm turning to chat. Help me out here. I'm a lost puppy, okay? I don't know what the fuck what am I supposed to be mad about? Is it just like Kamala Harris is a Democrat, so therefore bad?
Well, of course it has merit. The only question is, what the hell are you talking about? And the answer is Kamala Harris has no real idea what she's talking about. She can't even point to the direction of what she's...
Can I get a mic from PA? What? What the... First of all, self-awareness 0, Tucker. You're literally spewing out a bunch of nonsense. You have no idea what you're talking about. Second of all, we all listen. We're far younger than you, Tucker, okay? Now, I got it. We don't have the Murdoch bucks. But we're far younger. We're able to listen to what Kamala Harris said and understand pretty clearly what she's saying, even with the limited context that you provided. He's being intentionally obtuse here to try to make Kamala Harris look bad.
Her mouth opens and predigested chunks of language come tumbling out in no particular order.
How is he saying this with no self-awareness? This is literally you, this whole video, Tucker.
It's soothing to listen to until you try to understand what it means.
Oh my God, this is so telling. Everything he's saying is applying to him. It's soothing to listen to until you actually think about what it means. Yes. Good point, Tucker. Only it's better when we apply that logic to what you're saying, not Kamala Harris, because what Kamala Harris said sounded quite reasonable. She was just saying that the sanctions still had merit, which is a diplomatic way of going about this. I think he's just projecting.
As Kamala Harris told us just last month, quote, "It is time for us to do what we have been doing, and that time is every day." To which we'd respond, "That's right, Ms. Vice President Person, today is the first day of the rest of your life. Learn it, love it, live it, and while you're at it, eat, pray, love."
Notice how he said absolutely nothing there and didn't prove any points, but he made it so it would sound nice, guys. It sounded nice coming out of his pie hole. I think this guy has Putin's dick up his ass, and I think he may have taken like one too many acid tabs before jumping on here. Like, this sounded like a dude who's suffering from actual psychosis or is just high off his fucking rocker. Projection is one hell of a drug. Holy shit.
You can just imagine Vladimir Putin's reaction to all of this when an aide drops a translated transcript of Kamala Harris's remarks on his desk. The Slavic mind is a hall of mirrors. It sees traps at every intersection. Clearly, Kamala Harris must be setting some sort of trap for the Russians here. Her words don't make sense, but she can't possibly be dim and childish. America is a superpower. It would never put a senile man and an imbecile in charge of the country.
Good thing there's absolutely no medical proof that Joe Biden is actually senile. Good thing there's no proof that Kamala Harris is an idiot. Also, again, very rich coming from you, Tucker. Thirdly, it's my understanding that Russia was using Tucker for propaganda. Russia TV uses Tucker Carlson and Tulsi Gabbard to sell Putin's war. Fox News clips of Tucker Carlson and Tulsi Gabbard trashing Ukraine and the Biden administration were a mainstay of news coverage this week on Russian state television. Tucker, you can hypothesize what the Russians would think if they heard what Kamala Harris was saying, while we actually look at what Russia thinks about what you're saying. And they're using you to further their propaganda. Congratulations, pal. We just saw these pictures of innocent men, women, and children who were slaughtered by Russia, unprovoked completely. I think it's fair to say that their blood is partially on Tucker Carlson's hands. When you have this absolute chuckle fuck spreading blatant lies and falsehoods, so much so that you more or less are insinuating a very heavy support for Putin, and then end up being used by Russia to further propaganda, I think that Tucker Carlson is partially responsible for the slaughter of innocent men, women, and children. And believe me, folks, that's not just me saying words to sound good, okay? That's the goddamn truth. Don't forget to hit that subscribe button and click the bell so you get notified when I drop a new video.